What is one story that you enjoy sharing with others about stuff that you've like experienced in your life as a DJ entertainer, like overall in your profession?
Yeah, from the get-go, I think everything's been pre-written. When people like when you have a situation where you have something bad happen to you, it's okay to say this is bad, but you could also see this as an opportunity. When I was like 14, I was the oldest in my family. I had two sisters, and my dad, we lost him at that age, and I could have been, just like felt bad for myself and just I'm like I can't do this, I can't do that. I got the whole world against me. But for some reason, God was with me, and my dad must have been overseeing me because that was the opportunity that sprung me into finding the right people around me. Became passionate about sports, got involved in the school, and there were two coaches that saw what had happened to me, and they took me under their wing. And those two guys led me to the right path where I could have veered off into the wrong path, into trouble, and those sort of things. I was a good kid, but in that age, you could be, you'd be falling in the wrong path, and all of a sudden you're like, what am I doing in life? So from there, I got really. People go, when did you discover radio? It wasn't about that. It was about I love sports. I kept stats on every baseball player, every football player, everything in sports. And people go, "That's incredible, man! You should be on the radio. You should be like doing sports
Right,
casting."
right, right.
And people would say that, and I was like, one day at the basketball game, we had gone to the week before we went to a school where they had an announcer, and I thought that was incredible. What's this guy doing? And there was a microphone, and nobody announced the starting lineups. And I was a shy, fat, pudgy kid that never do anything. And I said, you know what? I'm just going to grab the microphone and I'm going to wing it. And people looked up in the stands, and there I was announcing the team. And when someone scores, you go, "Ooh," make the hype, all that hype stuff. And I just became addicted to being on the microphone and getting better at it, better at it, better at it. And pretty soon, people were like, "Hey, can you announce this for me? Can you do this party for me?" And that's how really the love of radio became the love of, maybe it was a love of attention because you were doing something positive, but you were getting positive feedback. Who doesn't feel great about when you make somebody smile, make somebody happy? That energy kind of like propelled me into the next level. And unfortunately, with sports, I learned real quick that getting into that market, it's really smaller market than radio as far as music is concerned. And I just saw another path when a DJ who worked in radio took me under his wing and said, "Hey, B, that might be." I didn't want to go to South Dakota. He goes, "You don't have to go to South Dakota. Why don't you just become a radio DJ in your hometown?" And I was like, started studying that. And next thing you know, I'm talking over music, talking over radio. And I was like 18. I just turned 18, and I listened to my hometown radio, and I was like, I'm better than that DJ already. They sound old and boring. So I got on right out of high school. My first radio job, I was doing a night DJ in Modesto, where I grew up in California. I was there for a week. They hired me to do overnights, which is like midnight to 6 a.m. And the girl before me, who now is like legendary radio icon, that used to work for Rick Dees and also Ryan Seacrest. Her name is Ellen Kay. She did the night radio in that station. And she came up to me and goes, "Hey, B, you get the biggest break, man. I'm going to a bigger market next week. I haven't told him yet, but you're going to be the night guy." And there I was, 17, barely 18, on the radio with all these kids that I went to school with calling me up and go, "Bro, what are you doing on the radio?" And I owned the town. It was like Market 131, but I was having a blast and just being myself, you know? There at that time there weren't many Latinos on the radio, and I think that kind of stood out. And I had a different, I don't know, way of handling radio. I wasn't an announcer; I was a person, and it kind of like propelled me.